Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast, the Project Investigation Collaboration. And Bob brought the mic forward. Brought to you by the Veritas Project. And as always, we are here with our gracious host and founder of the Veritas Project, Robert Curtis.
Hello.
And I am lead investigator Todd Boyer, and welcome to the podcast, everybody.
Yeah, welcome.
So local news. I've spent this weekend helping out a charity called Meeples for Peoples, and they supply board games to people nationwide who need them, firefighters and old folks' homes and schools and anybody that wants to kind of start a board game group or start like a library for that area.
That's cool.
And no cost to the group. You know, everything's paid for by the charity, and they get a lot of donations of games, but where they lack is the funds to ship the games, and it costs them like over $1,000 a year to ship the games.
Oh, I can imagine.
So that's what we did, a 50-50, and they're going to crush their goal this year. I think their goal was $3,000, and at the Geek Weights of the West, which is the board game convention I was at, I'm sure we crushed it. We were real close to hitting the goal as of yesterday. So I'm sure we crushed it today because we did a whole lot of 50-50 and raffle and all kinds of stuff today. So
nice.
So that's what I got going on. What you got going on?
Yeah, we narrowly avoided a devastating tornado
that's true
yesterday.
too. Yeah, yesterday was a mess.
There was grapefruit-sized hail on
Really?
the interstate. Yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
2 semi-trucks flipped on their side.
Wow. Well, if you look, there's a lot of videos on TikTok of where the tornado went through. There was one video where the guy was typical Midwestern, hear the sirens go off, walk outside to see what's going on, and he literally walked outside, looked across the street, his neighbor's roof came off and was heading his way.
Oh, I saw
He
that.
ran back inside. Yeah. So that was an interesting video.
Crazy.
What the? You see that, Bob?
What is?
Does that say what I think it says?
No.
Does that say we're actually over 10,000 subscribers?
Yep, sure does.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. So I'm kidding, guys. Yeah, as of Thursday, we happily woke up to being over 10,000 subscribers.
10K.
And that was a milestone that Bob and I had talked about from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That
we'd feel like
we would feel like we've accomplished something if we hit 10,000. And to put that into perspective, you only need 100,000 to get the silver play button from YouTube.
Yeah.
And as of literally 15 minutes ago, we checked, literally as we were setting up, we're actually at 10,201. So not only have we broke 10,000, but in 2 days we've gone up another 200 subscribers.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we are climbing exponentially at this point. So we are out there and we are making it happen. Thanks to all you guys that are watching. We did notice we have a lot of people that watch but aren't subscribed.
Yeah.
So if you're watching and you don't subscribe, please subscribe, guys.
Yeah, don't hurt nothing.
Don't hurt nothing. Yep. Hit the like and subscribe, and send us some comments and your thoughts on the videos as you watch them. But what we're going to do is we're basically going to do a little review of what we've done over the past year and a half. And I know we've told this story before, but so Bob and I used to be in the same paranormal group a long time ago.
Yeah.
And we actually did it was an internet radio show. So if you went to this webpage, music played, and on Tuesday nights, I think it was every other Tuesday actually.
Yeah, I think it was.
We would go do, basically it was a live podcast for a couple hours. So we would sit and we would do that live podcast, and we ended up, both Bob and I ended up leaving that group. Well, we actually lost that opportunity because that gentleman decided to cheat on his wife.
Yeah, she sold all of his radio equipment.
Yep, so that whole thing fell apart.
The radio station just went away.
So last, not August of 24, but August of 23, my 50th birthday party, Bob and Angie came to the party, and Bob said, let's get the band back together, let's do a podcast.
Yep.
And we kind of messed around and didn't really talk it much for like 3 weeks or so. And I called Bob and said, if we're going to do this, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's just jump right in and do it. And that is exactly what we did. Literally within a week and a half of that phone call, we were recording the first podcast. And if you go back and you watch that first podcast, there was nothing to watch. So it was literally two guys in Bob's basement with microphones.
Yeah.
And the sound was horrible. And that's where we started. And we went a couple of 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about it is our first podcast is Bob's like, I want to talk about the aliens attacking Peru.
Right.
And the funny thing is, we put that out there literally in October. Mm-hmm. The first week of October. I want to say October 3rd, I think, is what the... Yep, we actually put that one out October 1st.
Yep.
2023. It hit mainstream literally 9 months later. It was
July.
like July, August of the next summer that it hit mainstream. We're like, we covered this already.
Yeah.
Like, we covered that last year, brother.
Right.
So
we were all over it.
We were all over it from the very beginning. And so then the next two episodes, we just kind of had an open discussion about ghosts on the next episode. And then we did like a Ghost Hunting 101, which I think we need to revisit Ghost Hunting 101 because we kind of talked about things, but I think we need to go through and say, this is how you do a pre-sweep before the investigation. And this is the best way to set up this kind of stuff. And this is the best way to set up that kind of stuff. Because between the two of us, we've done hundreds of investigations.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll probably revisit that one coming up. I think probably even next week maybe because we discussed it. So, and then the next video was the Cahokia Mountains.
Right.
And we went out and we had a great time at the Cahokia Mountains and we took Bob's camera and we went out there and we did a recording and Bob called me and said, the video is trash.
Yeah, the audio... My old camera didn't have any the dead cats on it
to
block the
furries
wind.
to block the wind.
Yeah, and it was like we were standing next to a jet engine.
Yeah,
the entire
you couldn't hear
thing.
none of
You
it.
couldn't hear anything at all.
So we literally ran out, like it was the next day or like 2 days or whatever after, we went out and literally re-recorded the whole thing. Not all of it. What Bob did is he took some of the B-roll parts and actually just played music over it.
Right.
So
it kind of added to it.
So it added to it, and then we didn't have to use that audio. So, but Cahokia Mountains, which is actually one of the places we're going to go for the second annual meet and greet, which is coming up, which booked out quickly. Then we kind of went through some Halloween stuff because it was October 30th, and went through like burial rituals, and let's see, what else do we cover? And then we talked basically what are ghosts. I mean, let's see, is that, nope.
That was all the way
that
at the
one.
beginning.
Okay, there we go. So we talked what are ghosts. And we did, it's funny because we did a lot of the original podcast, our thumbnail was always the same. It was the haunted house in the swamp. Yeah. And we kept that logo for a long time. And we actually had some really, really good videos there. We had Who is Krampus, which got 1,000 views. 6 weeks. We'd only been 6 weeks in, roughly 2 months in, which was that was our biggest video that time. They were like, "We're killing it! We got 1,000 views!
We got 1,000 views, man!"
So, and then literally 2 weeks later, we had a hit.
Yeah.
Our first, I would say is our first big video, and is actually number 3 in our most viewed videos. It's actually, we did a 20 questions about ghosts.
Yeah.
And
it still gets a lot of views.
It still gets views now. It's currently at 7,919 views. And
crazy.
It's wild. And we went through like Yule and Christmas and superstitions. And so the superstitions one got 7,500 views.
Yeah.
And then the haunted art was 9,200. And I think this is the time when Bob actually promoted a couple of our videos.
Yeah, I think so.
And we ended up with a lot of these accounts from like Thailand and whatnot on the thing. So.
The Philippines and Thailand and
so we're all like, thank you guys for watching and subscribing. And they're all bots, unfortunately.
Yeah, they were bots. We didn't know. You don't know.
Oh. And then we had a really good hit come up January.
Oh yeah.
And that is the one that Bob and I was our first one where we said, we know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah. I saw that in the news, and I was like, this is unbelievable justification of what we've always been talking about, that haunted people syndrome is an actual scientific thing that they can verify.
And for those of you guys who've actually, we've talked about this, if you've been watching for a while, we have brought this up several times.
Yeah.
It is the simple fact that even talking about the paranormal opens your energy up to see the paranormal.
Right.
And once you see one thing, you're more likely to see multiple things.
Right. It's viral.
So
when you explain to somebody what a shadow person is or how a haunting works, then the tumblers click in their mind, and then now they're more apt to see paranormal stuff because you talked about it to them. So then when they talk to somebody about it, then it spreads.
I wonder if it changes like a resonant frequency in their brain.
I don't know.
That's kind of
But
wild.
it's scientifically proven.
Yep. It is a peer-reviewed, double-blind study that came out. And it is a fantastic show. We had the paper and everything. We're look at this.
I printed it.
We had it all printed out and everything. And we're like, look at this.
I've been saying this for years.
Right?
And people are like, oh, it's so stupid. You can't just... People either believe in ghosts or they don't. I'm like, no, there's something to it.
Then we talked about haunted objects. And then
That's a good one.
We taught you how to put a haunted bag together or a ghost hunting bag together for under $100. We did frequencies, which we've talked about frequencies a few times now.
Oh, the Highway 50 Phantom.
And we talked about the Highway 50 Phantom. We actually had some good comments on that.
That was the first thumbnail that I actually spent time on because the YouTube creator said that you should spend more time on your title and thumbnail than you do filming your content.
Really?
Yeah. And I was like, well, I don't spend any time.
Right, because we were using that picture. We were using that picture every week.
Like, I just typed in what it was about, and then I changed the text on the little thing and put it back out. So I was like, huh. So I actually sat down for a while and made the thumbnail of that video. That's the first one that I actually spent time.
And you loved it. You were like, oh man, I love this thumbnail.
So good because I got her face exactly perfect. And the woman in the thumbnail is the woman from the story. It's just a different. I changed the picture of her so that I don't have to get beat up by the family. Like, my mom did mama's picture. No, it's not actually her, but it's an AI representation of her in a scene that I made. So that's the first thumbnail that I actually worked on and actually spent like hours working on. So it actually paid off, and you could tell by that one because the video right before it had like 50 views and that one had 129.
Yep.
So we were like a rocket ship, man.
Then we actually had a good one.
Oh yeah,
it was our first live investigation that we did,
right?
And it was Bob's family home. And the reason why we investigated, I'll let you tell them why we decided to go do that investigation.
Yeah, because the weird stuff was going on the security cameras there, and it was just, it was too much to not warrant an investigation, in my opinion. Even though it's the family home, and people in the family got mad at me for having a live in the family home, still, it was worth it because there was phenomenon going on there. Knocking and orbs and the cameras would catch stuff all the time. Shadows moving.
And you were getting woke up every night.
Yeah, almost every night.
And the cameras wouldn't say motion detected.
It was a person.
They would say person detected.
Yeah.
Every night. They would get 2 or 3 in the morning, they would get an alert saying there was a person in the house. Well, so we did the investigation live on TikTok, and it was a fantastic investigation. And we had you guys, the live audience, down here on TikTok. You helped us. We actually set a camera, a phone in the hallway.
In the hallway, yeah.
And you could watch a shadow peeking around the corner continuously.
Clear as day.
So, and the cool thing about that one is what happened after that investigation. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it. Look at that. Look at that.
Yeah, the knocking.
So Bob and I are standing outside chit-chatting. It was a nice night. It wasn't cold. It was really beautiful, actually. It was a beautiful night. Bob and I are out there just, shooting the breeze. And we hear boom, 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 from the house. We're like, what the hell was that? And we're kind of moving around, kind of towards the house a little bit. And Bob's watch goes off.
Yeah, the camera goes ding.
And Bob goes, oh, we probably just set off that camera by the door.
Camera, right. Nope.
He looks, and it says, living room, person detected.
Yeah.
So we have, if you want to go back and watch that, attached to that video is an orb that starts in the kitchen and flashes 3 times along with that bump, bump, bump. You don't hear that because the camera's video only.
Yeah.
But it flashed in time to that bump, bump, bump that we heard, and then comes out of the kitchen and goes across the living room and right in front of the camera.
Yeah, right in front of the camera.
It was wild.
Oh, man.
It just materialized in the kitchen and came through.
And that camera is an infrared, like night vision camera. So it has infrared lights around it, and it looks out into that space, you know. So it's not like it can see dust in the kitchen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it can see dust right in its face, but it can't see something that far away. So it had to have been like the size of a baseball for that camera to see it from that far away.
Yep.
And it, clear as day, you could see it just blinking, and then
it started moving. Yep.
Pow! And then it exactly the pattern of knocks that we heard.
So, and then we started, Bob kept spending more time. I think you were using AI or something at the time.
I piecemealed it out to AI because I don't have hours to spend.
Right, to start doing, our thumbnails and stuff. And we touched on, like, ancient societies and Bermuda Triangle.
Who built the pyramids.
And then we thought, well, hell, we've had such a good investigation out there, we're going to go back to the farmhouse. That was about a month and a half later we decided to do that. That was a good investigation, even that time.
Yeah.
Wasn't as good as the first, but there was some things that took place with the obelisk, talking about the coin bucket that was there in the living room, and we had some good things happen on that podcast.
Some solid evidence.
So then we did rabbit holes, which we literally just talked about.
Yeah, just everything.
Just different rabbit holes, everything that came up to us.
Yeah.
And that was actually the week after the April eclipse that we went back and revisited. So, and then we had a good one. This is another one of our good videos that actually got...
It still gets views to this day. It still is in our top, like, 10, 15 videos.
And we talked about the different types of aliens. It currently has 3,400 views, but it's still, you'll see it still climb occasionally.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of our stuff that we've done, people are actually going back and looking at. So, it's kind of nice.
And I'll tell you, too, a lot of these videos only have, like, 30 views and 50 views and like that. They don't have any hashtags on them. Right. There's no SEO at all. So...
nothing to draw the people to it. So, so then we had one that Bob gets asked about on occasion. We had the "Do We Live in the Matrix?"
This is the one. People stop me out and about, and they always have and I think it's funny because it's only got like 123 views.
Right.
But everybody who watches our channel stops me and asks me about the Matrix.
Because by that time we'd established ourselves, and all our family and friends knew that we were doing a podcast, and all Bob's coworkers were watching the podcast. By this time Bob would come into work, and literally him and I are up on the screen.
Yeah, they're all watching the
podcast when he came into work. So we got up there, and we were doing that kind of thing. Like I said, that's one Bob they ask Bob about all the time. So, well, thank you for meeting our goal on TikTok. So I'm sure you guys heard that on YouTube. So then we talked about disappearances in the national forest.
Yeah, and that's kind of a weird video as far as our analytics go, because it has a lot of viewership, and YouTube likes to hide that video. Yeah. So a lot of times, even though it's in our playlist, because I log in to like our TVs, our smart TVs at work that are logged into someone else's account and watch my own videos on it, so I can see what our raw SEO looks like. And a lot of times it'll go from the Matrix one right to Antarctica. Like it just
skips that video. Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, we were the big conspiracy on that, and we did talk about the conspiracy. Now we did go revisit the farmhouse the third time.
Yeah, the third time it was
kind
out
of yep. It was all the energy was used up.
Yeah.
So we are going to click down here, and then we went to. Let's see.
It was Memorial Day, so we did
it was Military Ghost. So it was Memorial Day, and then Bob went to the Lizzie Borden house on vacation, and we discussed the Lizzie Borden.
Right, and that one surprising that it only has 30-something views, but people still talk about that one too.
Yep. So then we did a few little things, Project Stargate. We did a little bit of the Lemp Mansion.
Yeah.
And then we talked about the Winchester House, and then we had another one that kind of popped off a little bit.
That one is one of our biggest. It's always in the top 10.
The Bouvet Island.
The Bouvet Island one is always in the top 10.
So if you guys want to catch a good podcast, go back and check out the Bouvet Island episode. That little island is so weird.
And it's responsible for almost every hurricane that hits Florida.
Because the way it's so wild. The way the weather hits that island amplifies it and splits it.
Right.
And does craziest little tiny island.
Yeah.
Does craziness to the weather patterns.
Little bitty island, and the shape of it, when two fronts come together, the shape of the island basically stitches the two fronts together, and then they start rolling over each other, and then by the time they get to Bermuda, they just hurricane.
Craziness.
It's the weirdest thing, and it's natural phenomenon, but we talked about kind of the conspiracy theory of it too. And that one is, to this day, it's still in our top 10 in rotation. Like, people still come back and watch it over and over again.
So then right after that one, we went to New Athens Historical Society and did a live investigation from up there. And that was a cool thing because while we're all in the kind of kitchenette area, we had an EMF orb that literally just kind of floated back and forth in the kitchenette area, right in between everybody.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting one. Let's see, what else did we have? Let's see, the Lizard People Conspiracy. Oh yeah, that actually got 217 views. We talked about Yellowstone eruptions, unraveling the mystery of the fairies and the fae. Then we talked about were there really giants, but that didn't cover the data that we pulled for that podcast. I don't think did that subject justice.
No, I don't think so either.
And I would like to revisit, and that's kind of what we did last week was the revisit of we talked about the giants in Death Valley. That I think, I think there's more stuff out there. And then right after that, or very shortly after that, we had our first annual meet and greet.
Yeah.
And we did 3 hours live on TikTok from the Lemp Mansion.
Yeah.
And had an absolutely fantastic time. And I know the people that came out there and hung out for the meet and greet had a blast.
Yeah.
In fact, they had such a good time that as soon as I said we're doing another one, half the people were like, sign me up. I am coming back. That was outstanding. We are coming back. We're doing it again. Because
we're legit doing investigations. We're not like Ghost Adventures who just throw a product out there just to do it. We did the Spirit Box session, and then everyone else was doing investigations, and I uploaded the entire Spirit Box session on
3
YouTube.
hours.
All 3 hours of it. So if you want to say, like, well, they cherry-picked that, and it didn't really say that name, the entire Spirit Box session is on YouTube.
And it said
unedited.
Our names. Yeah. It knew us. That when we came back, it said our names.
Yep.
Like, Bob and I done so many investigations /
we've communicated with them so many times that as soon as we went back in there, they were like, hey.
Yeah, we know you guys.
We know these guys. I know the Spirit Box.
Wild.
I've spoken through this Spirit Box hundreds of times.
So wild.
So, yeah, the entire Spirit Box session is unedited on YouTube. You can watch the entire thing. So, take that, Ghost Adventures.
Yep, we kind of talked about crop circles and multiverse, and that's about the time. There's about the time that I saw my Bigfoot. Mm-hmm. Right in that time period there. I was never a Bigfoot believer. was like, whatever, you know.
Right.
You got to beat me over the head with a Bigfoot for me to believe it.
I had to see one.
But then I saw one. I fully believe that I saw one. I saw it take a step and a half and disappear behind a tree and just vanished. Like the tree was way smaller than what should have hit it.
Right.
It literally slid behind the tree and vanished. And I stood there and I actually made a TikTok video like, guys, you are not going to believe this. This is what just happened to me. I was out in the middle of Mark Twain National Forest and I went down and looked. And the bush that its knee was at was almost to my waist.
Wow.
So that thing had to have been almost 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
I mean, the bush was easily 4 feet. Easily 4 feet.
Oh, yeah. Like the one I saw, I was riding in the back of my friend's Jeep, and it stepped out, like, right next to us. Like, as soon as we cleared it, it stepped into the roadway. And it took one step, it took one step in the road. It was on the shoulder, the center line, the other shoulder. That's how big its stride was. And when we stopped and I looked at it, I was like, because we went back and I was like, man, was that a bear or what could walk like that?
Right.
And I was looking at the stride of it. The stride of that thing was the entire width of the lane.
8 feet. That's 8 feet.
That's a big stride.
That is a huge stride.
Even somebody sprinting.
And if you watch the videos when they're striding it out, they're taking these really long strides.
It was the same. It was where its midsection was, like where its like belt line was, where the spare tire of the Jeep was. That's how tall it was.
Wow.
And it was enormous. It scared me. I was like, whoa, out in the middle of nowhere, you know, that thing could flip the Jeep over easy.
So then shortly thereafter, we did Mandela Effect, which actually I talked to some people this weekend and they saw the Mandela Effect video. They're like, I'm going to watch that. That's the first one I'm going to watch.
Yeah.
So I got some new subscribers while I was out this weekend doing my stuff. They're like, we're going to watch that. And then right there, that was our first anniversary.
Right.
Then we talked about, I read Telltale Heart and a couple other poems for Halloween. And then we talked about how many times The Simpsons actually got things right. And that was a great episode.
It was a good
If you like The Simpsons, go back and check that because we talk about all the different things that The Simpsons have guessed years in the future.
Yeah.
Years in the future.
Yeah, we went over all of them too.
The Donald Trump one is ridiculously accurately the same.
It's crazy.
Down to the point of the people standing up on the balcony and the people coming down the escalator.
Yeah.
Everybody's in the right position. And this was well before Donald Trump was running for president or was going to be president or anything. But check that episode out if you like The Simpsons. You know, if you like weirdness.
Yeah.
That one falls right in line for that. So let's see. Yep, I got to switch to see where we're at next. Let's see here. So then, let's see, Halloween, Truth Behind the Weather Manipulation.
Oh, that one, that YouTube squashed that video big time. You can tell because it's got like
25
views.
Yep.
So they didn't, because we came with the receipts on that one, and we were showing like how
they do it, how they started doing it, what chemicals they use,
everything. And YouTube did not like that video.
Nope.
That was one of the ones that I uploaded, and it had like no views for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
And I was like, he must have struck a nerve with that one.
Yep. So then we talked about like the top most haunted places in the world, and then right before Halloween, we went to Mill Street Treasures. And then we put that podcast out a few days later. We went like right at Halloween. We went to that investigation.
Yep.
And that was an okay investigation. The upstairs had a feel to it.
Oh yeah.
We didn't catch a whole lot of evidence there, but you can definitely feel a presence up that place.
There was a couple of times where I had like footsteps. I recorded footsteps moving around and the sound of a door closing where there isn't a door, and kind of things like that. You know, there was definitely something going on there.
Yep. Then we discussed the Moy at Easter Island. Let's see here. And then let's see. Oh, this was a good one that actually didn't get very many views because we feel they squashed that too.
Yeah, they definitely squashed that one.
Congress came out and said, yes, there are UAPs in our oceans. Like all you had to do was watch the live feed from Congress, and all these military officers are like, "Yep, there's aliens in our oceans. There's aliens in our oceans."
We've had interactions with these craft that defy logic and gravity and everything. They defy all the laws of physics. That these are Navy pilots saying this, like under oath. So, you know, and I even put some of the Luis Elizondo's testimony. He, for some reason, uploaded all of his documents to the interwebs, so I downloaded all of his documents and put them in there. So, yeah, that was a good one. And it only has 36 views.
And also, right in that time period, you guys started the first Midnight Matinee.
Yeah, we started doing movie reviews.
So we got the movie reviews and the spooky stuff, and of course we got around Christmas, and we talked about Krampus again.
Yeah.
And then Bob and Angie were reviewing horror movies for Christmas.
Yeah.
And then we talked about quantum chips, which is still a big ongoing conversation in the news and everywhere else. That they believe that quantum chips actually reach into other universes. Alternate universes to pull the data, because they pull the data so quickly, there's no other explanation.
That it has to be multiple iterations of that chip in different universes that are processing together in order to make that calculation that fast.
Yep.
Crazy thought.
So, let's see. We had failed Christmas
the prophecies that didn't come
the
true.
New Year's prophecies. Explored the Wendigo, which you guys did because I was out with COVID. You and Angie did the Wendigos.
That was a good one, too. We got some good views on that one.
Sure did. 132. Then we did The Watcher in the Woods. Was actually a viewer submission.
One of our viewer submissions.
So, which we're still waiting for you guys to send us stuff in.
Yeah.
Then we used Ancient Frequencies as a tool.
Yeah.
We did some Ghost Tube review, which that's an app that Bob and I both thoroughly enjoy.
Oh yeah, it's really, really good. If you ever, as far as like paying for an app, you know, like 'cause a lot of times that stuff is just scamware. You know, I feel like the Ghost Tube is worth buying, in my opinion, to have the full view of it. And I have that one license on the Ghost Tube, and I use it on both of my phones and my tablet with one license. So.
Then right after that, the news came out and said, we know who Jack the Ripper is.
Yo, man. Woo.
Which caught us some heat.
That was a bloodbath.
We literally said, we know who Jack the Ripper is, and this is what the news is saying. And we got tore up in the comments.
Yeah.
You guys don't know what you're talking about. We're like, dude, we are going straight from the news. And we are legit not deviating from what they put out. If you guys don't know,
I answer every comment. Every single comment that comes in.
He absolutely does. On TikTok and here on YouTube. Everything.
And I always engage with everybody. And it was an absolute bloodbath in the comments on YouTube for that video. So many people that I just had to copy and paste my reply over and over again because these people were losing their minds in the comments. And I'm like, bro, this is not me. This is the news. The news media is saying this, and then I am making a podcast about the news. I didn't, this is not my theory. I didn't make this, you know what I mean? It's not something I just cooked up in my basement. You know, this is the news media saying it, and then us reacting to the news.
Right.
Calm yourself, little people. Like, these people were absolutely insane.
It was a mess. It was an absolute mess.
Like, everybody knows that it was the blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, they don't, dummy, because now we know it was this guy. We know it was this guy, so calm yourself.
So then we went into exorcisms, and then demonic possessions, and then we talked about pyramids around the world.
That was a good one.
Oh, that was an absolute good one. And then we talked about exploring the secrets of the pyramids across the continents.
Right.
Let's see.
Oh, yeah, all the different pyramids that are in different locations around the world and how they line up, and different similar construction techniques and the shape of the pyramid. It was a really good, comprehensive dive into pyramids.
Then we talked about urban legends.
That was a good one.
And then we had our smash hit.
Oh, man.
This was not actually that long ago. March 17th of this year, our smash hit, our #1 video, The Origins of Witchcraft, the Book of Oberon.
Yeah.
That one hit so hard. We have 13,000 views on that one.
I get chills thinking about it. Legit, I got a chill thinking about how massive that video was for us.
For us, that is huge. Considering we only have 10,000 followers and it got 13,000 views.
Yeah.
You see these people that have like 3 million followers and their video will have 50, 60,000 views.
Yeah.
We have 10,000. It got 13,000. And at the time, we didn't have 10,000. At the time, we had 6. And this is what started our numbers on an upward climb.
And it
literally took our subscribers and kicked them right in the ass, and our numbers started shooting up.
And that video has almost 500 likes.
Yep. That is one of our best videos.
And its ratio is 96 likes to dislikes. That is outrageous.
Yep.
Outrageous.
494 likes on that video. Then
we crushed that video.
Then we did pyramid. We debunked the pyramids.
This is the other one that
we caught fire for this one, boy.
163 comments.
We caught heck for that one.
And look at the ratio. This was 88 likes.
88% likes to dislikes. Yeah. They did not like the fact that we shut the whole thing down.
No, we were the first, by the way. I'll toot our own horn on that one. We were the first ones that came out and said this is bogus. And we were so far out of the gate saying that this is bogus that we were both kind of like, maybe we jumped the gun on that. Because I wanted to believe it, but then I actually did the research and we found out
it's still there. The report is literally still sitting on the corner of the desk.
We read the real report and said this is bogus, and then people on TikTok were running wild with it.
Right.
And we were like, oh man, maybe we were wrong. And I'm like, no, we can't be wrong because we
read the original report. Yep.
I sat through a 3-hour-long conference in Italian so that I could hear
translating line by line.
Yes. Every sentence, line by line, with my little translation earbuds from the TikTok shop. Buy it now. And I literally went into the brink of insanity so that I could tell you that those 3 scientists, the one guy is a legit scientist, the other dude is completely full of crap. And the third guy wants to make money off of the other 2.
Right. So then
3-hour conference. 3 hours of me slowly losing my mind at the Roku, going click, play, pause.
So, and then that week I sent Bob a couple pictures. I said, Bob, look what AI can do to us.
Yeah.
And Bob's like, heck yes. And then Bob said, there shall be funny thumbnails.
Yeah, that's what we're doing now. You forget about the poignant content-based thumbnails. Now we are making silly thumbnails from here on in.
So that was our first thumbnail, and we talked about the secrets of life force energy. Bob made one. I have the third eye open and energy coming out, and Bob's going Super Saiyan with the hair. And that has been our thumbnails ever since, the craziness. And that's where we stand in April. And then we did the Ouija boards, which didn't do too bad.
That thumbnail is one of my favorites of ours.
We're playing with a Ouija board.
Yeah, we're fighting over the Ouija board, and the planchette's going to fall out.
And then we talked about the Skywatcher program, which literally within days, Bob said the government's going to come in and jump all over this.
Yeah.
We said that on Saturday. By Monday, when Bob went to edit it, the government had come in and jumped all over it. Literally.
In those 2 days, on Monday morning, I went in to get my screen grabs from their website, and their website had completely changed. And it was no longer scientists, with a laser pointer pointing at the sky. It was tactical military vehicles, military contractors, government, obviously DARPA equipment. It was just like that. They were like, oh, you scientists did a really good job. We'll take it from here.
Yep.
And now it's no longer contacting aliens so we can interact with them. Now it is, we are here to steal your ships. That's all there is. We are going to shoot down and recover UFOs.
Yep. Now to segue into the next week. there is one thing that TikTok applauds us for every week.
Oh, man.
We record all our videos in 4K and Dolby Native.
Yeah.
Right? So we have some of the highest quality content out there as far as video quality and sound quality. And TikTok is, or excuse me, YouTube is always like, who the hell are these guys? And why are they putting out this great quality content?
Yeah.
Right?
Whenever they put our videos into their little queue so they can show the content creators who they're talking about, ours is always in the top row because of quality. And they're always like, oh, this channel has like 3.6 million subscribers, and this one has like 7.2 million, and then these have like 6,000. They're like, how did you get into top row? And they're like, it's the quality of the videos, because the algorithm likes this quality, so it puts it in first, because they want to show off that they can have 4K content. And a lot of creators do not record in 4K. They're still doing 1080, like that's, a thing, And we are legit full 4K UHD and Dolby Pro Logic. Like we said, we are 7.1 surround sound. We are full 4K UHD. So that's why we always rank higher. We always punch above our belt as far as quality,
Yep.
So.
And then along came the meeting. The creators meeting that Bob stepped into. So
this was such a good one.
Bob was making the funny clips.
Yeah.
And we did Here Be Dragons. And that was April 21st. That wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah. When I went into the creators for the creators little content meeting that they have in the mornings, and they always bring up your current video and then kind of critique the people that are in there, and there's always like maybe 20 people in there. And I'm watching it, and the guy just starts laughing, and he looks at the other guy, and he's like, and he starts laughing, and he's like, "Who the hell's video is this?" And they put it up on the screen, and it was our thumbnail. And he's like, "This is absolutely priceless." He's like, "I don't even know what this video is about, but I love it." He's like, "I'm all about it." It's a picture of us riding Falcor with Smog from the Desolation of Smog behind us, destroying a village in the background. And it's all on fire, and the people are running.
It's fantastic.
It's awesome.
And that was another smash hit video for us. It did 7.9K views.
Right.
Right. And then that's when the Pope passed away just a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So we talked about the papal conspiracy of the end of the earth, which is Bob and I fighting over the
mitre.
The mitre.
Give me that.
The Pope hat.
I'm the Pope now.
And then a few weeks ago we talked about the conspiracy of the Death Valley Giants.
Yep.
And then we talked about the Earth's poles and the flipping of the Earth's poles. And that's actually still a current video, still doing good views.
Yep.
It's currently at 1.9K, which I didn't even know it was that high. Last time I looked, it was 1.4.
Yeah.
So that one's still doing solid views.
I'll take it.
And at that point, we hit 10K.
Yeah.
And here we are, 1 year, and where are we at? Let's see. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. 1 year and 8 months in, after battling with YouTube over being buried under that other thing.
Other they who shall not be named.
Yep.
Which, by the way, their copyright is still outstanding. So if somebody wanted to get into some shenanigans, you could trademark the Project Veritas right now.
Yep. And which we've thought about, but the price, we could go in there and say, hey, take it down. We own this now.
If I were going to do it, I would do something stupid with it. Like, I would sell energy drinks or something. You know what I mean? Like, I would just, whatever shameless exploitation I could come up with. And just to, because I don't know if you know the background of this, but I started this channel, this paranormal group in the 90s. And that name, the Veritas Project, was stenciled on the side of my investigation case in like 1997. And I have had it all that time. I have business cards from the 90s that have phone numbers that don't even exist that say the Veritas Project on it. And my logo used to actually be a red dragon. with a hourglass with a magnifying glass in the middle of it, and then I made a web page, and I liked green, how the way the green looks. So it's been these colors since then. So since like the early 2000s when I had my own MySpace page, then this has been the black and green and gray has been our colors. And these scumbags in the Project Veritas, the gotcha investigator people, have tried to steal my name from me since they first started doing it. They're like, we want your webpage, we want your email address, we want all this stuff. I'm like, no, I'm not giving you anything.
Right.
Like, that's my stuff. You know, you guys want to buy it, then let's talk some numbers. Get
and you've already, by that point, you'd already trademarked it.
Yeah, so by the time their lawyer finally contacted me, I had the wherewithal to finally trademark it for real. So I own the trademark to the Veritas Project.
Yep.
So when they were like, well, we can just sue you for it, I'm like, I don't care, do it.
We own it.
I'm going to sue you for damages.
Right.
Just to let you know that. And there's a guy who started around the late 90s and early 2000s. He made a Christian Scooby-Doo kind of book.
Right.
And they're called the Veritas Project. But that's the group's name, right? The books aren't called that. So he also had his publishers come after me. And they were like, you should give us your webpage. I'm like, what?
No.
No, bro, I pay for this stuff. It costs me money. Web pages cost money. SEO licenses cost money. You know, trademarks cost money. I'm not just giving it to you.
Right. So.
Ain't going to happen.
Here we are.
And here we are at the current day.
Current day, 10K
10,000
followers.
10,000 subscribers. How about that?
We actually, this conversation, like I said, the conversation that Bob and I had, that we felt if we hit 10K, we felt that we had accomplished something.
Right, like that would be...
we were like, obviously the big pie in the sky is the silver play button.
Yeah.
But we were like, man, if we hit 10K, that'd be a big thing. You know, that was literally a conversation. We hit 10K, that's going to be a big thing.
It's less than 2 years, right? Yep. So you figure on that trajectory... You know, we only got to do it. We only got to do it 10 more times, and then we get the play button.
Play button after 10 years. So, but here we are, guys, and it's all thanks to you guys and thanks to your support. Yeah. If you are watching the podcast and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit that like button, share it out, hit that notification bell. Follow us. We do a lot of good content. You know, we do a lot of good things. We got a lot of stuff coming up. We've got that second annual meet and greet coming up in August. We are also waiting for you guys to send us your stories.
Yeah.
You know, we still have the bag,
I brought the new one.
ghost bag to give away. So you have a choice.
Yep, you have a choice now.
You have the smaller bag, which is really nice and compact. It's kind of a fanny pack situation or a crossbody bag.
Crossbody.
However you want to do it.
Those kind of things.
This bag, I think, is even cooler. This is just a little bit bigger. And it's more like a satchel kind of crossbody, or, you know.
Yeah.
But it's got lots of pockets and stuff to be able to put all your paranormal gear in. Got some magnetic closures on here.
It has little magnetic clippies to hold it shut.
That's a nice bag,
has
too.
Has a little dangler for your keys.
Send us your ghost stories. We'll make a podcast out of them. You know, we'll get that underway. We'll get that, as soon as we get some stories, we'll get that underway. Also, check out the t-shirts if you need some merch. It is Printly. We need a post-it right down there.
I'm going to put a whiteboard over there, and then we can just write our notes on there, so we can be professional.
And the shirts are really nice if you want that stuff.
It's still sitting here waiting for the wash.
Yep. Well, why don't we throw it over there when we get done with the podcast so I can get through the wash.
So I can actually wear it at some point. But
so
where it is.
There it is.
Oh my God,
get the merch. Get the merch. So then also you check out Bob on all his social medias. RS Curtis 73 on TikTok and Instagram and all that good stuff. Facebook. And I'm Investigator Todd on everything.
All over the place.
If you want to send us your story and you're watching here on YouTube, you can send it to the Real Veritas Project at gmail.com. Mm-hmm. And I'm at investigator.todd.paranormal@gmail.com. If you're watching down here on TikTok, you can just message Bob or myself. And anything else? Am I missing? I feel like I'm missing something, but oh yeah, the postcards.
Oh yeah, postcards.
So
if you subscribe to the Patreon,
yep, at the $5 level, you get a monthly postcard signed by Bob and myself, and then Angie writes a nice little note because our handwriting sucks and Angie's doesn't.
Printify.
That's
why we got to write it down.
That's why we gotta.
We mess it up every week.
We do mess it up every week. Ever since we changed from that other place, we mess it up every week. So, and then also, join the
Discord.
Thank you.
Yep.
I keep wanting to say it starts with a V.
Yeah, go on the Discord. You can chat in real time. We can have full conversations about the channel. You can bring up
send us a message or whatever.
Yeah.
I see it. If you send a message or get on there and send something to Bob or myself, I see it pop up. So we get the little red notifications on the phone. So once again, thank you guys for watching us, and thank you for supporting us, and thank you for getting that little number down there over 10,000. We appreciate that. And
it's over there.
It's
over there.
No, it's actually right. It sits right below you. Is where it sits, right there. So, because I went back for the little thing I did at the intro there, I went back and looked at a couple of the videos to see exactly where it sits. It's right below. It's literally right in front of you, right below you there.
Right there.
So, once again, guys, thank you for your support. Thank you for all the likes, taps, comments, and shares down here on TikTok. And we're going to hang out for a few minutes, talk to you guys. And thank you guys up here on YouTube. Thank you for watching. And remember,
stay curious
and find the truth. And we'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
See ya.